All right, welcome, Reap Smite League fans. It's your boy Lucio Horde here at Chair 1, and joined by the spectacular Sam Cobra at Chair 2, followed by the somewhat average but owner of the league, so I'm legally required to say the best ever, Jay behind the camera. How you doing,
J
Sam?
for Joe back. I'm doing great, Lucio. How are you? I'm excited to see this game. We got Bumba's Boys versus Atrocity. Already seeing some interesting bands. Looking at Skipper 13 coming in from Atrocity. Cupid and Freya banned out for them. And on the other side, we had some kind of more standard bands. We got Set and Tsukiyomi, both strong. Tsukiyomi in the jungle, more so. Set in the wherever the hell he wants to be, and he will be doing Set things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm doing great, Sam. But yeah, I don't. I'm not all about the Freya band. Skipper not really known for his mage ADCs. Really good, however, with that Cupid and that Jingwei. But what we see instead is that first lock-in of Yamoja, all those ADC bands, and a set Tsukiyomi and a Merlin band on the side of Atrocity leaves open that Yamoja, and the response tends to be a nemesis, and well, not tends to be, is a nemesis and Nike. How do you feel about that response to a strong pick like Yamoja?
I like it. We've seen a lot of Nike from Atrocity. They run it in a few different lanes. Um, and Ruler of Men is solid in jungle with Nemesis. Nemesis can be pretty good into Yamoja, given that if Yamoja doesn't have enough Omi to use her Riptide, then she is kind of a sitting duck, and Nemesis can chase her down pretty easily. But we do see some pretty safe picks on the other side. Scylla, who has become so much more popular as of late. Of course, very safe, can use her dash to get away. Early game, a little lackluster, but once she starts getting those levels, getting her passive online, she chunks. She gets automatic free penetration from her crush, which is kind of busted. And when we see a Raven, which is going to get some early pressure in the jungle, well, by an Apollo on the other side. I don't know necessarily where this Apollo is going to go, but I'm assuming it's going to be Skipper. It's most likely Nemesis in the jungle, Apollo in the ADC role, and I think that's where I prefer to see it. I've seen a lot of nice Apollo jungle. I've also seen a lot of very not so great Apollo jungle. What do you think?
Yeah, no, Apollo Jungle can work. It really is about taking your opponent by surprise. There's something that you're not really prepared for. Having a global ultimate that can literally be anywhere at any time, coming from anywhere at any time, means that a lot of the time you want to bring more than enough numbers on a gank so that way you can kind of mitigate that Apollo rotation. Now, I do like, however, the Robin into this type of comp. Robin really early game can kind of beat out that Apollo, can beat out that Nemesis. But a lot of ADCs have been banned away here, so it's going to be interesting what Boomba's boys decide to pick up.
I do like the Nuwa ban from Bumba's Boys as well. You talked about globals, take away the combo global so that you can't have Nuwa ulting and then Apollo ulting in, or vice versa, and finishing off a kill. As we do see the Baba Yaga locked in, we have seen this been played by Atrocity a few times. They seem to like it. It's a late game mage. Can be really, really annoying. The variability coming from Baba Yaga means that you're not necessarily sure, as we do see a Jormungandr, a god that we haven't seen a lot, given that Cthulhu is still open, and Jormungandr is kind of a worse Cthulhu, but I guess that's what they want to go. We see the Anhur locked in as well. Anhur is going to be early pressure safe, and just overall good. As the last pick, they're hovering Guan Yu. So it's going to be a warrior support. Most likely, I've seen Asher play Nike support, and this Guan, if it is locked in, will most likely go to solo lane, which is that high pressure for physical comp. I don't know how I feel about this Jormungandr. I mean, he never was bad. I feel like there's other picks that like Cthulhu better than him.
I mean, look, Jormungandr. I kind of disagree where Jormungandr is like a worse Cthulhu. I think Cthulhu and Jormungandr do somewhat different things and have a different role. Like Jormungandr has more consistent ranged poke than somebody like Cthulhu. Also has a little bit more ganking potential than I think than Cthulhu. But it is something that we don't see very often because of the long wind up to his ult. But however, it might give him time to escape somebody like a Nemesis. It might give him time to bait out a Nemesis ult and then ult in response. And now he's untargetable during that duration, and you can actually still have an impact on the field. I don't
What
I don't disagree that Jormungandr is like a not a very strong pick, but I also don't think it's a bad pick, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever bad. It's all relative, right? I think that I would like to see this Nike use her knockup debuff onto Jormungandr, where he takes more damage instead of being knocked up or whatnot, and try to apply some early pressure onto him, because once this Jormungandr falls behind, it feels really kind of bad to play. Yeah, he has a little more consistency in range than Cthulhu, but I mean, Cthulhu is basically really average without his ult. Like the rest of his kit is like average to maybe like slightly below average. Jormungandr's kit, I would say, is also kind of average. It's nice when you have certain things that you have counters to, especially against stealth characters. Jormungandr's passive is really nice, but we don't see any of those on the side of Atrocity. So this is just going to be a straight up Jorm versus Guan, and I would expect the Guan Yu to take that lane pretty consistently. Also, on the duo side, we see pressure drafted from Bumba's boys. Yamoja on her is going to be, as we kind of speed up to get into where we're going. Little jumping witch of the forest. But yeah, the Nike is going to help provide pressure for sure. Apollo has decent pressure, but I think that Yamoja on her, it should be a kind of a toss-up, but it should be a pretty safe lane regardless. It looks like, though, Sea Breezy is looking to try to slow the minions down. This is one thing you can do with a Riptide, similar to Terra Wall, and see what she's saying there. So it's not like she's doing that and then going to purple. I guess they're going to let on her solo purple, as we see this Gem of Fate pick up, so maybe an early rush and a Sunder, upgraded Sunder already picked up. On her, it looks like he did get the Hog. We had two, so he hogged it, he soloed this. This is an interesting start from Bumba's boys. Actually, is very interesting to see. This means that they do give up wave pressure, but the other team cannot hit level 2 because they don't have any wave to farm. This stacks up a giant minion wave here at the cost of all the Omi and all the pressure that they would have had. And now it's just up to Atrocity to clear this giant wave. On her does jump in, misses his jump, misses his impale. But now I feel like, okay, you get pressure in this lane, you can just wait for the minions, but Sea Breezy's just keeping them there. I don't know. This is I'm interested to see how this turns out, because yes, you lose minions under your tower, but like you'll still get the XP for it. Yamoja's further behind. Now both these guys are level 2. They didn't actually lose any XP, and now Nemesis is here. Yamoja has Riptide and no stun. I would have liked to see Ruler of Men. After that Impale's down, that's the only thing that they have left. I would like to see her come back, because Yamoja has nothing here. This may result in first blood, but on her going in, he does get Nike's shield. Barrier formation does prevent any further aggression. It's a great ability, but I do wonder if she had gotten her jump instead. But Robin's here, and Robin should hopefully know that Nike has no jump, and with that, Nike should be dead. That's first blood.
Yeah, I mean, an exciting turn of events there. Early gank in that duo side. Nemesis is going to rotate over, creating a little bit of a presence, but knowing there's not really much here for her, she's probably going to at least try to stop some of the invades. And then she gets swatted out by Robin. And there's not, again, I don't think really there's much she can do except secure that purple buff for the side of Atrocity. I mean, And really good engagement from Bumba's boy, really clean.
So yeah, Bumba's boys do get first blood. Does that mean that this start was a success? It's a very interesting start, and I don't know how to feel about it.
I think that the start wasn't necessarily a success for that reason. I think if you're gonna do something like that start, you need to go for a cringe level 2 gank, or a level 1 gank, where you essentially would forfeit that pressure, and essentially Robin would skip the blue buff, rotate already to that duo side, and attempt to kill both. Because remember, with that wave not being there, and the wave in the Atrocity side wave going straight into that tower, you would have Nike and on her way too pushed up without any way to escape. I mean, not on her, Apollo.
Yeah.
You'd have Nike and Apollo way too pushed up to kind of escape a Robin's aggression.
But the opposite happened because of the giant minion wave. Nike and Apollo were just under tower because they had 2 minion waves kind of stacked on each other. So it was really hard to get that initial aggression. It was good rotation from Nemesis. I just think that Nemesis, Ruler of Men, just gave up too early. I think that he definitely had a first... Like, once that impale was used, I think that they had kill potential, but they just never... maybe it was just not communicated that Yamoja was still level 1, had no Omi, and only had Riptide, because I think that was a dropped kill from them. But it did let the turnaround come from Robin.
Well, I mean, I think you pointed it out right there. As we get a little bit more aggression here, stun hits both. Honor's going to use a Desert Fury, not going to find any...
Not enough damage.
...kills. But going back to the point from earlier, I think Nemesis didn't really have much room, operating room, because of what you said, where that minion wave is stacked. Because once you try to go in, you're going to be taking a lot of those minion archers at level 2 that you can't really take. You can't really take at level 2 a lot of minion archers. I mean, any solo laner will tell you that. And if it's more than like 6, which I think is what it was at that point, it's really not a favorable situation. So I don't know if she gave up too soon, because I think if she had stayed a little bit any longer, Robin possibly could have set up for a double kill.
Maybe, I mean, by that time, the archers, like, the waves had already been cleared by the time she actually rotated in. But Robin, looking aggressive, looks like they do secure the oracles for themselves. And I'm guessing the thought process from Atrocity is that they have a late game comp. They have Baba Yaga that's late game. They have a Guan Yu that's going to be phenomenal in late game, and Apollo that's going to be phenomenal in mid to late game. And they maybe just they throw the Nike in there just to not lose duo pressure, and then kind of stall it out. As already we see the solo lane, we do see some pressure from the Guan Yu onto this Jormungandr. Really not much Jormungandr can do to stop this Guan Yu just casting his Halo Assault. Nemesis is around for a gank, but she just decides to do the totem because Guan was pushing up. Maybe if that was communicated, I still see some signs of just maybe poor communication from the side of Atrocity, from both this on the left side and the right side. I think their communication has to probably get a little bit better and a little bit tighter, because if Nemesis wanted to gank this side, then Guan should have kind of held back a little bit, let Jorm push up, not cleared that wave, and made it so that he was more vulnerable, because that would have been a fine gank, force the ult, but at this point, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess, as everyone's just trying to do their own sets of buffs.
Well, I don't know. I kind of disagree with that in terms of miscommunication. I mean, sometimes the rotation was already there. As this rotation comes out, the counter rotation not really working out, but that Yamoja Riptide goes in the wrong direction. Gonna help secure that kill. There comes the Apollo. Apollo gonna dash in. And not any further kills, but losing 2. 1 because of a bad Riptide. That just happened. Yeah, that's going to be a good Gold Fury call early on her. Only one that can be around. Maybe can leap in, look for that Desert Fury. Not going to find the damage necessary to bring it down, but will find the kill onto Apollo. And we'll find the double kill, and we'll find the Gold Fury and the triple kill. And that was just...
gosh.
If there's
Atrocity is in shambles.
If there was a time to talk about miscommunication, that would have been it. They dropped the Gold Fury except Apollo. Apollo takes that last bit of Gold Fury damage, meaning that he was killed. you're sending Nemesis to do the zoning. Nemesis is not a zoner. Like, you needed to have somebody there that could actually do the heavy zone. Like, Nemesis just doesn't do that, especially against somebody like an Honor. Honor just gets to be like, okay, cool, you're
Yeah,
here.
that should have been
Bye.
Nike's job. Nike can definitely do that. But yeah,
even then, you can also just take the fight onto the Honor. Like, earlier, again, I don't think that was a miscommunication of the ganks, because either way, the one on solo side, Nemesis was already making the rotation onto that solo side. Guan Yu has pressure, that just happens to be what it is. That's not necessarily miscommunication. On the duo side, she really just came to show face to be like, hey, I'm around here now. Hunter going on somewhat of a killing spree, had the killing spree earlier, now has 4 kills. And he's going to have that 2.5-ish level lead, but that was a big miscommunication around that Gold Fury fight. The call, I think, should have been, let's just take this on her. Let's go ahead and kill him. And then we can still maybe take this Gold Fury, or just drop the Gold Fury at that point. Because you really, if it's not given to you for free at this early on, then you kind of have to let it go.
Yeah, I like the call to pick up the Gold Fury. I just don't like how they played that. Obviously, ended up very poorly for them. As now, if we can look at our graphs here, Jay, we got a 2,000-ish gold lead for Bumba's boys, and an XP lead that's about the same. A lot of it in that Hunter role on Hunter against Skipper. And Atrocity likes to play through Skipper from what I've seen. So this is going to mean that they're just going to have to sit and wait. They do have a good late game comp. I mean, Scylla is also great late game. It is going to be really hard for Atrocity to out secure, as they saw kind of in that fight on her ult, Scylla ult, even Jorm ult for just space control. It's going to be very difficult to out secure Bumba's boys with this comp. So even though you do want to go late game with your draft, you're going to need to win those late game fights and then sustain up with the Guan Yu healing. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think really that is the biggest weakness in Atrocity's draft. They have no good objective secure. Now we see the Nike getting caught out on her, looking for her, gets Desert Fury. We're losing the fight. There comes Apollo in, trying to stop the Robin's aggression. Baba Yaga used her ultimate. Scylla, I'm a monster, not going to do enough damage. Divine Judgment also online. Now Robin's going to try to create that peel. River's Rebuke also creating somewhat of a barrier. A lot of ultimates used, but not really much gain for either side outside of a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, that was a lot of commitment onto the Nike. She has tank bush, she managed to survive. This Baba Yaga decided instead of Book of Thoth to go Warlock Staff early, means that Baba Yaga's damage is not that great early. Yes, you maybe have a little bit more survivability, but they were able to peel, both teams basically having to peel members of themselves out. They were able to do so successfully. That was a good Apollo ult, good communication from him. So now we do see the start of, I guess, the classic Oracle Chalice pickup coming from Nemesis. We get a Mana Chalice. Oh no, sorry, that's just the regular Baba Yaga potion. As Hunter trying to go aggressive. He does have that 3-level lead. He's trying to do something with it, but not really anything to be had. Skipper does a nice mesmerize just to get that off with So Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, right now, going back to the drafts, Atrocity just doesn't have a good way of securing objectives. Baba Yaga damage, maybe, but then you're relying on primarily DOT as opposed to just straight pure damage. Like this Honor's Desert Fury almost finds a kill onto Apollo. Apollo holding it down, but the tower goes down regardless. Baba Yaga using the ultimate in the mid lane, but everybody kind of gets out, and that's the worst thing. If you're gonna play that Baba Yaga and you're gonna have that ultimate, the worst thing you can have is the enemy team refusing to even fight.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you want to be ulting while the team fight's already going on and no one can really go anywhere. Just starting that off telegraphs exactly what you want to do. no punishment for this on her that was able to just ult, have no mana, take the tier 1 tower, and to Bumba's boys' credit, they were doing enough in mid to prevent any rotation over to help Skipper. He does give up that tower, not a huge deal. I would like to see him just freeze the wave right where it is, not have to worry about pushing it up. Maybe you can last hit to get those stacks, as he is very far behind in the stacks where Onher's already done. But that's a lot of that's coming from the extra bonus of getting those kills, as Gold Fury is back up, Primal this time, and Bumba's boys are in prime position to take it. It's already at half.
Yeah, and again, no real way here for Atrocity to contest, but a lot of ultimates used. Baba Yaga able to find the kill. Nike able to find another one as well on the opponent's support. Now we have Guan Yu's gonna ult in, looking for Robin. Robin used his 2, but not
the Honor should be a sitting duck now.
The Honor
used his ult as well. Yeah, they get a...
Ooh, not enough there from the Honor, but does get a kill nonetheless. Gets it on the Nike, so that does turn it around.
What are they gonna do with this?
No call for anything. I assume that they look at least for that Pyromancer I would be looking for after you push up these waves. But with 3 back, maybe you don't.
Everyone's going to be back up. Yeah, Scylla's going to be... Everyone's going to be back up. I would say they were already at that left tier 1. They didn't take that. I feel like they just kind of wasted that opportunity. They had a huge turnaround fight, which should have been a huge benefit to Atrocity. Yes, it'll help in terms of getting some of this farm back in your favor. Helps with getting that gold lead tamped down a little bit, now only at like 1k instead of 2k, but I just think that Atrocity should have capitalized off that opportunity. They had great plays in that Gold Fury fight where realistically Bumba's boys just used all their ultimates and had nothing left for the fight, but now Atrocity didn't do anything with it, so Bumba's boys is still in the lead despite that huge team fight loss.
Yeah, so okay, I wouldn't take the tier 1 tower, mainly because Apollo's so far behind that taking that tier 1's more of a liability than a boon. But what they should have done is look for a little bit more invades in both sides of the jungle while Bumba's boys reset. Pyromancer wasn't the call either. Nike gonna have to leap away from that aggression. But I agree with the call that they made not going for that tier 1 tower. And so here we see things kind of resetting. They fight for the oracles. Apollo kind of still freezing wave, getting the XP that they can, and kind of catching up finally, you know, level 13 to level 13, despite what the scoreline might say. So, you know, Robin looking for a little mid-game. Baba Yaga going for some poke, but Robin's literally right behind. Nobody really calls him out, but Nimus just makes the rotation over. Able to find a slice and dice. Nice heals from Yamoja means it's going to be a full health Robin for sure.
And we do see some anti-heal coming out from the side of Atrocity. Already we see the Divine Ruin, the Brawler's Beatstick. None so far from the side of Bumba's boys. This may be a Divine Ruin coming into Scylla here, but that makes sense. Guan Yu hasn't really been involved in these fights as much. As now, Guan Yu is trying to get some involvement. We'll get some pressure onto Robin, but not enough for the kill. Robin has to ult out, but ult for ult. This Jorm is also going to have to ult out. But Skipper's up in the air. Skipper's looking for something. He's looking to see if he can dive. He's looking for it. I don't know if he will. Looks like he decides against it, and they decide to go for the Pyromancer instead, which is a smart call. But now this leaves on her to just push this lane again. I think he gets this tier 2, and I think the tier 2 is worth more than the Pyromancer here.
Yes and no. I mean, Skipper really was trying to look for that dive. They eventually decided to do the Pyro. And I mean, while losing the tier 2, yeah, it kind of sucks. It's not the worst, again, since you're the one playing from behind. You kind of want those waves to be pushed that far up, so that way you're safer in your own farm.
But now you're already, like, 4k almost behind as a result of these trades that you've taken. Sorry, 1.4k. Sorry, the math on screen. and also the resolution. So not too bad then. We're at 1.5K, and the XP is now pretty much even. So that was a big swing towards Atrocity coming in.
Yeah, again, so like I don't think the Pyromancer call was bad, and again, it also allowed them to, if they had to, they could deathfall, like if Honor got greedier and went for that Phoenix, or if they wanted to push out towers, because it's important to understand that, yes, while Anher got that left side of the map, other places in the map, Atrocity really has the pressure in that mid lane, that solo lane. They're the ones that have those towers almost dead, as opposed to really Bumba's boy have the 2 towers on the left side. But for right now, that's not really going to matter. It's going to matter more when you start talking about fire giant dances, because those waves will be pressured up. But right now, I think it's fine to make the calls that they did.
Could be, but now it looks like another grouping for Oni Fury, and this is where it's really kind of scary to try to even defend or take a fight if you don't have any towers on that side. As the fight breaks out, Bumba's boys does secure it again, but now Scylla all available for the fight, gets huge damage on Ruler of Men, huge damage on the backline, but now Skipper 13 ulting in, gets the first kill onto Sea Breezy, but the dive is happening on both sides, and Hunter also killed in the backside. It looks like it's a bloodbath as a 3-for-1, maybe a 3-for-2 here. Sorry, a 4-for-1. So another fight where Bumba's boys takes the objective. Atrocity wins the team fight. Let's see what Atrocity can do this time. Now they're kind of heading towards the Fire Giant side of the map. I wonder if I think they're healthy enough to do this with Brackus tanking. There's really only Jormungandr, and Jormungandr, they should know, has no ult, which means that he is really not a threat. So the Atrocity boys are pulling the Fire Giant, and it should be pretty free. Jorm's here, it's just like the only thing is to get a spin, but that... They just killed the Jorm, I'm assuming. He has no ult.
No, I think
they're taking a lot of fire damage.
They made a mistake. That was a bad call. So the reason this was a mistake had to come from the fact that they were not healthy enough to do it. Brackus probably not leveling his healing that high, because I mean it's a solo laner, so it's not all the way up quite yet.
Level 4.
It's level 4, but it's not like. Guan Yu has good healing and assault, but the problem is that
now Bumba's boys hooks it up, and it's already and Bumba's boys just takes the objective. They just picked it right up from where they left off, and they do get the kill onto Brackus as well. So that's actually a huge turnaround for Bumba's boys. He's been taking every single objective on the map. I like the Fire Giant call. I think that you have to just 50-50 it at that point and say that anything we have in terms of confirm, you have to trust that, like, if you burn, you should be able to out-secure a Jormungandr spit, because that is the one thing that you're worried about is stealing it, is just the Jorm 1. Jorm 1 does not do that much damage that you should be, like, that worried. You should be able to 50-50 it okay.
So, not necessarily. So what happens there is that you gotta remember, Yorm does. It's not like they went and turned on the Yorm, right? So they did kind of the plan of, we'll out-secure the Yorm, it's going to be okay, but Yorm kind of gets himself in a position where he creates himself to be the target. Then he's disrupting the team, Atrocity's team, so that they have to take more Fire Giant damage than they need to. Ruler ends up dying just straight up the Fire Giant. Yorm hits him with maybe the Tremble. That's about it. But then he dies. I mean, Yorm really does his role there. Baba Yaga gonna ult. So is Nike here in this mid lane fight. Turns into a full-on team fight. Robin gonna have to run away. Breezy getting caught up here. Has to use the River's Rebuke defensively, but I'm a monster over the wall. Not gonna connect. Crush goes in, and it's gonna hit. So is Sicko. Honor, however, gonna find somebody. Honor looking for more. Honor gets a double. Now Scylla being dove. Scylla gonna use the Sentinel to get out of the way. Gets a triple kill for... Looking for
so much given up by Atrocity for a tier 1 tower that was already at half health. And now, where they could have defended at this tier 2 or done something, now they guaranteed lose a Phoenix, if not 2 Phoenixes, because they have only Ruler of Men up. I don't think they have enough time to end here. I mean, Atrocity is going to be up in 11 seconds. I think they do have enough time to just go straight to left, maybe just kill Ruler of Men here because she steps in, and they should be able to get this other Phoenix pretty easily.
Yeah,
I think if Axer tries to defend this, he just suffers the same fate as Ruler of Men just did.
I mean, I like this call to have the Emoja push up the right lane so they can turn towards that right tier 1. I mean, that right tier 2, and then eventually they can turn this into an end call. Like, right now, I would say you're at a 70-80% chance of winning for Bumba's boy right here. When you have two Phoenixes down, one of which being that left side Phoenix, it's going to be extremely hard for Atrocity to defend and maintain pressure over that next Fire Giant, and even to maintain pressure around things like that Gold Fury that's going to come up the Primal. But I think here, Bumba's boy is just going to have to let it go.
Is now Jorm getting kind of caught out, has to go into his ultimate to get out of the way. That means that Atrocity is in position for this Primal Fury spawn. I mean, yes, you will take what you can get at this point if you're Atrocity. I would have rather had a couple Phoenixes than a Primal Fury, but you know that is past. So now you just gotta do what you can. Looks like Bumba's boys is completely satisfied with that trade. They back up. They're on the right side. A Fire Giant's going to be spawning in a minute and 20, and they want to set up. They'll get Pyro and set up for the next Fire Giant here. They should be in a phenomenal spot, given that it's going to be really hard to defend this Fire Giant with 2 Fire Waves pushing up on your left and mid lanes.
Well, yeah, this Nemesis is alone for his defense. Another Riptide, a little bit off the mark, going to send on her back. He's going to take that moment to get a blue buff. But Guan Yu's going to have to back here. Apollo can, however, still be pushing up these waves. He does have that ultimate available, can ult back into the fight if necessary, but instead he's going to take a back because that left lane is pushed up.
Now, this is a scary point in time for Bumba's boys, though. They don't have Fire Giant. They had it before, and that's when you feel really good with Fire. Then Fire pops, gets off, and you lose all this power. And you may lose this team fight, and you wonder, how did we lose this team fight, guys? We were so ahead. Well, Fire just stopped. Jordan does get out, but the chase is on. Good Sikkim will kind of neuter that chase as Ruler of Men gets rooted, not able to hit the slice and dice, but these guys are staying around. It looks like Banter may be caught out.
Ooh, this is going to look bad here for Bumba's boys. Oh, just Banter able to pick up that Nemesis now. Apollo going to confirm that kill. Yorm going to find him now. Looks for the whole combo. Does find it.
Kill him, yeah.
Yeah, and that will be a kill right there. Apollo not able to dash out of that.
Because if Jorm doesn't get that kill, that's a free Fire Giant for Atrocity. That kill onto Apollo, yes, I get it. Apollo trying to get that kill, thinking that he can dash out. Almost makes it, but that kill by Brentashian onto Skipper means that, again, this is like the 3rd or 4th fight, maybe 5th fight in a row that Atrocity has won and been unable to do anything with. The stuff after the stuff, as it were. You can't do it if you don't have your Hunter left alive.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the fact that, yeah, Apollo, I think, made the right call to go for Scylla, but I think I wish he would have had a little bit more hesitation, because if he had wrapped around, done a little once over.
If he had Aegis instead of Shell. If he had Aegis, that was easy.
Yes, but it really comes down to, if he had done that wraparound, he would have seen the Yorm coming. And then he would have been able to guaranteed been like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get this kill. Because the idea is fine. You want to kill Scylla because she's the one that can out-secure your Fire Giant push.
Yeah, I have no problem with the Apollo call going in to secure that kill. I think it was very close. It was actually probably just good play from Brentashian to get that last hit onto Apollo. We'll see. I think that it's just a shame that Atrocity has been winning these team fights and losing the game. Like, every straight up fight, except for the one where there was Fire Giant and they were defending on a tier 1, they have won. But they've just lost every single objective. And you can't, except for one Primal Fury, okay, woohoo. You can't win the game off of just team fights alone. This 16-16 kill count does not show the state of the game, because Bumba's boys has just been playing the map better, has been playing their draft better.
Now, a little bit better here as this Mid Phoenix goes down. They're going to go ahead and settle for that. Let Yamoja do her job. Gonna heal things up. Maybe still looking for a fight. Guan Yu gonna Rivers Rebuke is used. Gonna cut it off. Now Apollo looking for a kill, but now he's all alone. That means that Robin and Scylla get to have their way with him. He will go down. He's just
and here you see he used his shell
on her.
And that meant nothing. Shell means nothing at this point against this comp.
Yeah, Shell, I mean, I wouldn't say it means nothing. It's just that if you're going to go that far, you're going to have to have Aegis. If you're going to use Apollo to go aggressive, you're going to have Aegis, or you're going to have to position better around your solo laner. Guan Yu hadn't made his way down that way, so not enough time to create that pressure, as we do see Baba Yaga using the ultimate, trying to find a kill, but instead Guan Yu getting absolutely shredded. So is Atrocity as she goes down.
Okay, I understand the Jorm pick now. I get it, and here's why. Hey, look at all these upgraded shells. How long do you think it takes Jorm to go through that upgraded shell?
It doesn't take him any time at all, but I mean, it's more than that. He also gets to press the tempo, which is what this team is trying to do. Desert Fury used to try to confirm this. Titan eventually does, and that will be game.
That was just well played by Bumba's boys. I'm a believer now in the Jorm pick against this upgrade. I think the upgraded shells, like, okay, cool, you had like a game plan, like once upon a time you go all these shells and all these chalices of the Oracle, but like if you stick to the same thing, teams will figure it out and they will learn how to draft against you. And that's what Bumba's boys did, and they did a phenomenal job. And that's good game one for Bumba's boys against Atrocity. Let's see if Atrocity can figure out what went wrong and tighten up some of that communication as they go into round 2 of this best of 3 set. We'll be back after a short break to see you guys in round 2.
Welcome back to game 2 of this exciting set. So far, we saw an exciting game 1 where one team really solid on team fights, another team solid on objectives. It just so happens that Conquest really is more about objectives than team fighting, apparently. So Bumba's boys comes out with the win in game 1. Now we're going to have to see what adjustments Atrocity makes for game 2. Sam, what do you think that they should adjust towards for game 2? You think it's do you think they should do it in terms of just play style?
So I thought their draft was okay. I wouldn't mind them running back their draft, but Bumba's boys knew what they were going to get with this quadruple shell upgraded. Jorm just eats through that. They don't have any characters that are really auto attack reliant. They pick up the Tsukiyomi first pick here, and leaves Bumba's boys to get Scylla Yamoja yet again. And Scylla Yamoja did work that game. Those objectives were always confirmed because Scylla ult and Yamoja ult. As opposed to, yes, sure, they lost those team fights, but I would like to see Atrocity really clean up their comms. I feel like from 2 minutes into the game onward, I was mentioning like, hey, it seems like their comms are off. That means that you're not going to be as fast as getting to objectives, which we saw. Atrocity won 5 team fights in a row and then didn't go to objectives. That means you're going to be in places and defend tier 1 towers that are almost dead for no reason and lose those fights and lose your Phoenixes. Again, their shot caller, I think, or maybe they need to figure out who's shot calling. They need to be more decisive about their shot calling and actually focus on what to be doing on the map instead of, yes, I think their in combat team fight is really good. They go on good targets, but kind of the more macro play has been lacking from Atrocity. I'd like them to clean that up. And they picked the Sylvanas here. I know that's also a comfort pick for their support. That's going to be really interesting into a Yamoja and Ravana, and even a Scylla, where you have this very non-mobile pick. The Chernobog is also interesting. It's somewhat like Apollo, but maybe less potential for inting because you're a little bit safer. I'm not sure. They do ban out the Apollo. The same first sets of bans that we see from both teams, although now the switch up into the Jormungandr, I guess they do recognize that the Jormungandr shreds their upgraded shells, so might as well get rid of it. And the Guan Yu on the other side means that we'll have to see. What do you want to see picked up in replacement for these guys?
I mean, definitely gonna. I would love to see a Sobek here. If you're gonna have a Sylvanas on one side, you need something that has high displacement because why not grab the Sobek and then displace them and then try to get those kills pre-level 5. The only danger of that is you grab that high displacement god, somebody like a Xingqian or a Sobek. You gotta be careful of how you're plucking that Sylvanas, because if Sylvanas has ult, you're probably giving him a free 4-5 man knockup into your own team, and now they're taking DOT, so you gotta be very careful. I like the Xingqian pickup, but again, you have to play that very, very, very carefully. If this is really going to be an Odin lock-in, I like that.
Interesting.
Because it kind of cancels out Yamoja very, very hard. It even screws over Robin. Robin has to use his ultimate to kind of jump over it. So that kind of helps out dealing with things. That's why you're picking this Odin into it. For the mid lane, I don't know.
So I think that... All right, let me cosplay the comms at Atrocity. My god, guys, we couldn't ever secure an ult because Scylla ult is the best secure in the game. Hey, wait, what about Isis ult? Okay, sure, go Isis. So, I still think Scylla is better at securing because she can combo her Crush and her ult at the same time, as opposed to Isis just has the ult. But this does mean that they have a lot better objective confirm, objective secure. Their early game is solid. Their team fights we'll have to see is play dependent. There's a lot of good tools on both sides. I do kind of like the Hu Yi pickup as well. There's not a lot of CC on the side of Atrocity, so you're not as worried about the lack of CC immunity on Hu Yi. And it does several things. It gets out of Odin Cage. It does big circle, area of denial, meaning that if any of these guys that are relatively immobile, Isis, Tsukiyomi, and Sylvanas get caught, they will be sitting through multiple suns raining down on their heads, and that could be a big factor in these team fights. It'll ought to be about how the individual plays and mechanically how it plays out. But I like this draft of both sides adjusting pretty well to each other. I do want to see how Donkey Mojito does on this Isis, as that's going to be a big factor for me. Isis is going to mean mid pressure, I guess, especially against the Scylla. What I want to see, though, is converting that mid pressure into something onto the side lanes. Getting your side lanes ahead through mid pressure is what you have to do with Isis, because late game, Isis is not going to be able to sit and cast 4 wing gusts without getting, a million things knocked at her. So until then, you want to be using this Isis, abusing that mid pressure you have, trying to do stuff on the side lanes with that mid pressure, rotating out early. If Donkey Mojito does that, I think Atrocity can get off to a good start. But I think that late game, it's going to be someone's going to have to babysit this Isis. It's going to be the Sylvanas, most likely. Sylvanas does not go hog. Maybe they recognize that this strategy that Seabreezy's been doing, and they're like, well, we don't need to hog it because they're not going to be at lane. There's not going to be any minions.
I mean, so I kind of want to go back to actually talking about the Ho Yi. I actually don't like the Ho Yi pick here because there is a lot of CC from Atrocity. You have 2 roots, a stun, another stun, another stun. There's a lot of things that can disrupt this Ho Yi from free casting, and a lot of ways to actually purely displace him, which can be a problem. And once that leap is down, he's really vulnerable. And the Ho Yi ultimate also kind of helps that Isis ultimate go online, because it's not going to outright kill somebody. It's actually just going to trigger that Isis ultimate to get charged up, and then you can just fully heal all that damage that was dealt. So the Ho Yi I'm not a big fan of. I'm not saying it's bad, but I do feel like there were probably better picks that you could do at that time. So
I just don't think a lot of their CC is going to be... Yes, you have a stun on Odin, which not super hard to duke. A stun on Tsukiyomi, there's beads for that. there's nothing like this. So the roots are not really going to be. If their backline is free casting on Hui, then that fight is already lost, especially with the front line that Bumba's boys have. So it's really, he should be worried about the Tsukiyomi and the Odin. The Isis and the Chernobog, I'm not really, as a Hui, I wouldn't be as concerned about those guys, because realistically, what your warriors, your front line should be doing is being on them, forcing them to use their CC on you. Now Tsukiyomi comes in early, nice cringe gank. I think that's nice double bounce, but that's first blood.
Yeah, that will be first blood, and that's the danger. I mean, like, yeah, the lead, Tsukiyomi, again, the difficulty was there that Hoi kind of up-downed in a lot of ways. I mean, he didn't wait too long, so that allowed Tsukiyomi to kind of turn around and confirm that stun. I mean, it's really telegraphed where Hoi is going to go, and that's really why, going back to it, I just don't like the Hoi choice, because that Isis stun also goes a long way to go for that stun. And it can hit more than one person, so you might not even be aiming for Hoi and just hit him anyway. And it does a lot of damage as well. So it's not that it's terrible. It's just not really the strongest pick, I think, in this ADC role. It's something to look out for and watch for, because there's a lot of ways to kind of deal with that. And especially when you have a Sylvanas that can drag Hoi to your backline, right? You pick him up, you drag him, meet him in with an Isis orb. If he has no beads, he's just dead. Like there's no response to that.
And I think especially given that this game, they knew that they weren't going to have mid pressure because they're facing an Isis. That means Tsukiyomi is free to rotate. This start, which worked out really well for them in game 1, kind of ended up costing them, because now this huge wave, in order to capitalize on this huge wave, you have to be pushed up to their tower. That leaves you very vulnerable for a gank just like that at level 2.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about actually in game 1, is that was the danger of it, is that you actually pressure out, and the way you defeat that is by going for an early cringe gank as well. I mean, it kind of worked out in the favor here of the side of Atrocity. It's like, okay, cool, you have all the pressure now, you have a cringe gank, so what are you gonna do now?
Tsukiyomi caught out in a bad spot, does have his ultimate, not able to secure the red, but still has the timer, got the side. As now there's a big rotation. Tsukiyomi ults, Hui has no ult. He does get Sea Breezy, but no follow-up on the Hui, which, that's okay. I like that pick. The Tsukiyomi's been very active early. I've loved what he's been doing with his rotation.
Yeah, I mean, Tsukiyomi, you know, a lot of talk from the past 2 seasons has been Atrocity plays through Skipper, but right now we kind of get to actually see the evolution of their playstyle, where Ruler of Men is really kind of taking that more proactive role. I mean, not that he didn't have one before, but now it's really on center stage as he shifted away from those warrior jungles and into these more traditional assassin jungles. He's really kind of shown his own mechanical skill, as we do see Chernobog ulting in, and there's the danger once more. Chernobog able to really kind of chase down that Hoi, was able to find that route even if he didn't die from that one.
Already the XP difference is massive. You have a 2-level lead across the board on duo side, a level lead in jungle. Of course, solo is kind of on their own island, so they just do their own thing, and whatever happens, happens. But Jingtian is going to be much more effective as time goes on. Odin is going to be much less effective, especially if they do decide to go a Phantom. I really hope that they do not go all these quadruple shells again. I didn't like it the first game. There's really no reason to get it again. I would like a sprint. Sprint's going to be huge for all of this stuff coming in from the side of Bumba's boy, Scylla, Yamocha, Hui, even Robin.
I think, honestly, I'm going to be real.
We'll see, because
I play Chernobog quite a bit, and one of my favorite things to go on him right now is Horrific, because you're just going to ult into that team fight, you drop an upgraded Horrific, and now their attack speed is slower, their movement speed is slower. You know, you do a lot to them in that moment, and it is really devastating. It's something that they can't really react to. There is a lot of slow immunities, but you're really getting it for the the damage debuffs that they also get on the horrific, and you're already there, so why not?
But the
Um,
thing is, with Chernobog, once you ult in, no one's wanting to fight a Chernobog immediately after ult because he has that big mitigations. Also, he gets that team wide slow. So if I was, I do see the Sunder pickup for Sea Breezy. So that is one relic that he did that game one as well. Game one he was against a Nike. This game not the same. So I don't necessarily love it this game. I do think the sprint would be a good pickup from the side of Bumba's boys as well. And that if you already have something that's gonna make your team want to get a sprint, such as a global ultimate that slows, then a horrific into that is gonna make you feel a lot worse because you just, all right, you use horrific, I use sprint, just we run away.
yeah, I mean, you can always see what happens, how it shakes out in terms of that sprint. I mean, they might not have the awareness. I mean, again, it's more than just a slow on horrific. A lot of people forget about that attack speed debuff. A lot of people forget about the other part of it, which is the damage decrease as well. Those types of things with Cherno when you ult it. When you ult in a Cherno, yeah, they're not wanting to fight you, but they can't really react if you just come in and hit that relic as that perfect stun, and the pull means that your Mojo go down.
Yeah, great combo there from Isis setting up the pull onto Sylvanas. Those individual communications have been really good for Atrocity. It's just I want to see them play a little bit. They have a great lead right now, and I want to see them really flex this lead into forcing down objectives. There's already Chernobog's taking this tier 1 on left side. So kind of a reverse of what we saw in game 1. And let's see if the outcome follows suit.
Yeah, definitely Atrocity taking a lot more control of this game. 7 minutes in, has 5 kills, haven't lost anybody in the process, and you having a lot of level leads throughout the. You're talking about a 3-level lead in the support lane. Look for that little plug. That is gonna be him. Big stun from the emoji that kind of stops it.
Beats down.
Ooh,
now they should know this.
I'm a monster, but seems a little bit premature. Tsukiyomi able to find the kill. Now Robin looking for a kill in turn. Cherno gonna turn and fight, but it's only Sylvanas, it's only Cherno. They might be the first ones to go down for their team. It's definitely gonna be Sylvanas. Definitely gonna be Cherno now with that nice sentinel.
And now the objective.
And now the objective.
Open. You knew that the jungler was on the other side of the map. This is the great fight for this team. Oh, that they're not. They see. Okay, I guess they know the Tsukiyomi's coming in. They're choosing to take the fight instead. I don't know if they communicated that Tsukiyomi didn't use his ult, but now he uses it.
Oh, that's
He's
a big
everywhere. He gets
ult.
a huge ult.
That is a big ult. Isis drops the ult as well. Here's now Donkyu trying to find that damage. Ooh, finds a nice stun. Cherno has ulted in.
Double bound.
Now looking for that last basic. Does find it. So what turned from a good call by Bumba to go for that gold turns quickly around because really it comes down to Tsukiyomi not having used that ult. Because you have to turn on that. You have to turn on that because Suki can just ult into your entire team and then do so much damage. And that just put Bumba's boy in a really bad position.
Absolutely correct. I mean, that was a great team fight from both ends. Honestly, I was thinking that, all right, yeah, you got the beads on Hu Yi. You should know that. Jot down the timer, come back for it. Atrocity decided to go further. Bumba's boys decided to turn it back around, having the awareness to know that, okay, we still have, yes, I used my beads, but I'm still healthy. They used a lot of tools in the Sylvanas ult, and now it was just a nice back and forth, ultimately evening out some of this gold lead as we see Ruler of Men has really been doing work. Highest gold per minute. He's been farming up. He has a 2-level lead already. Some of these level leads now are starting to diminish. Still 2 levels in the support, but only 1 level now for this Hunter lane as Hui able to get that turnaround kill. Chernobog also getting that kill under tower. That was one that mitigations really helps. But where do you want to see from now? Where do you think the momentum has shifted, or do you think Atrocity can still keep control of this game?
Atrocity already showed that they can keep control of this game. That was a nice turnaround that, in all reality, kind of comes out in their favor. Bumba's didn't get the goal. Now they're about to lose mid tower. They lost 2 at the beginning of that fight. Like, I think it definitely comes out to be that Atrocity kind of takes, that the Atrocity kind of still took control from that. They turned a bad situation into a better situation for themselves, and now they're looking for that Gold Fury.
All tier 1 towers now down for Bumba's boys. That's going to make any objective contest much more dangerous because you don't have that close bastion of safety to go to under your tower if something goes wrong. And that was what kind of happened. It's just Tsukiyomi's a character that you have to gamble with letting through. He can be really ineffective if you catch him. He's kind of you gotta treat him like a global ultimate. The way you counteract global ultimate is very strong. The way you counteract it is take the fight to the person with the global ult. Who are you trying to do that with Chernobog? But if you take the fight to that person, then their global ultimate is basically neutered, right? They can't do anything. Tsukiyomi is kind of like that, as if you take the fight to him, force him to ult defensively, then he can't really do anything. But if he can come in, Tsukiyomi loves coming in at the end of a team fight when you see like 4 people at half health. That's like a bright light shines in every Tsukiyomi's eyes when he sees that, and he has his ult ready, and he's like, I'm gonna press 4, and I'm just gonna demolish these guys. And that's what Ruler of Men has been doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things that Ruler has kind of been everywhere in the right time at the right place, especially trying to find those kills. But I think it's important to mention, and it's kind of a non sequitur, but Brentacion has not loaded back into this game. A pause was done, but they ran out of pause time. So right now, Bumba's boy playing with a 4v5. Atrocity gonna take the competitive advantage of that and get this Gold Fury. Not like this is a competition. Sometimes things go wrong. Atrocity still playing this out. I think that's the right call.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks.
It does.
Apparently, Brentacion, it was the internet issue, so yeah, that's unfortunate. I think another thing, just aside from that I'd like to point out, still a Force Endure ult, not using it, but just using it for CC immunity. If you're 3 levels behind in jungle, is that the time that you decide, hey guys, I think I want to start stacking?
I think that's the time where I'm thinking about game 3, to be honest with you. Like that's just straight up. Like if you're 4 levels behind in the jungle, especially, that's not good considering that jungle has so much presence in the game as a whole. Like that's just a tough situation to come back from, especially when you're playing a god like Robin.
Like Brentacion comes back.
Brentacion does come back, luckily, so now we're getting that 5v5 again. And I mean, honestly, that actually might have helped Robin for Brentacion to be gone, because Robin can pick up on some of that farm. But unfortunately, like I said, if you're 4 levels down as a jungle, I'm thinking about the next game, because that's just so difficult to come back from.
I don't think they're quite there yet. Like I said, the Bumba's boys has a good late game. They have Scylla, they have Yamoja. Always going to be relevant. Jingtian, once he's level 5, it doesn't even matter that he has a 4 level deficit because he's just going to be able to press 4 and spin the Beyblade. But I hate this stacking. Already, if you can't, you're not, like, yes, it feels bad when you're a jungler and you are behind and you feel like you can't have any impact. But now, you double down on it. In any team fight that you're forced to be there, you're having even less of an impact because you're like, nah guys, I gotta go farm and stack. Like, that sucks. You can't like do anything there. Already, Tsukiyomi has Heartseeker. There's not gonna be a single team fight for the next 20 minutes that Bumba's boys is going to be in a good spot to take unless Atrocity get picked or make a really big mistake. As now Brentacion DCs again.
This is just unfortunate there for Bumba's boys in this situation, but again, you kind of have to play through it as best as you can and make the best out of it in this situation. Now Tsukiyomi does find a nice stun on this Robin trying to fight it. I'm a monster not close And that means the speed buff will go in favor of Tsukiyomi, I believe, unless there's a crush. No crush. Crush too late means that Tsukiyomi gonna get away with that speed buff.
And that's 2 minutes longer for getting, you know, trans stack. As now Skipper, knowing that he has this lead, knowing that he has this pressure, able to just bully out this, but beautiful stun. Hunter looking up, seeing if he wants to go in, sees that there's a Sylvanas here to support, decides against it. You have no health, buddy. You have very little mana. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Sylvanas does get to do the ult.
I mean, good use of Sylvanas to zone out that
ults to
Robin.
get the Robin off. Yeah. But I think Skipper's healthy enough, they could have probably just forced this T2, and I think that's what they're looking to do. Skipper does back. Yes, he can ult in, but it's kind of a waste of your ult. And they decide not to. I think that Skipper could have stuck around. Yes, he was low on mana, but there was not really any threat. Again, like I said, Bumba's Boys is not threatening at all to me this point in the game. You have a 12k lead, 11k lead. Like, there's not a single fight that I wouldn't want to take if I'm Atrocity, and Atrocity again kind of shying away from forcing these fights. As time goes on, yes, you have a long time to work with. You have a solid 15 minutes to play with this lead. Once that 15 minutes is over, your lead becomes meaningless. Already, Hunter, despite being behind, is wanting to take some of these trades, never decides against the backstab.
You gotta have to take that. Say, hey, you know what? We're good. But
yeah, you're not gonna win these trades. You haven't even stacked your Devos while Skipper's already like 1.5 items ahead of you.
Yeah, and having a whole nother stack.
Oh, Donkey Mojito getting that last hit onto Banter. Banter, poor level 11, doesn't have his second relic online. Oh, you hate to see it. Bumba's Boys is kind of in shambles right now. The one thing I will say now, with Sylvanas doing all this rotating, Breezy has been able to catch up in levels. Sylvanas really kind of fallen behind where you would like to see him. But now they get the Gold Fury or the Primal. Good that you guys double split. Oh, and they got the Invade as well. I didn't realize that. So the Jungle Invade and the Gold Fury coming on the same side. Really nice. They're pressuring down mid. I would have liked to see them play with their ADC, who's really ahead, instead of him being off. But looks like Ruler of Men coming to make that rotation. They're gonna look at the left side.
Now we're looking for a little bit of a fight. We're splitting it up 3-2 versus 3-2 on both sides. It's gonna be the Odin and Jing Chen versus the Scylla. And, well, Odin, Jing Chen, Scylla. Oh man, let me just talk about this. I'm gonna skip over that. Tsukiyomi able to find a kill on Robin. Nice River's Rebuke, however. Nice 9 Suns as well. Gonna go ahead and try to bring down that Sylvanas. Gonna have to use Shell there. Scylla makes the rotation over. I'm a Monster is up. Gonna go ahead and miss that one. Crush also not on the mark. So that's 2 major abilities right there that are just gone.
Yeah, and 1 major player that's just gone. Okay, do we have an over and under if Robin gets to finish stacking his Transcendence this game? What do you think?
He's gonna finish it. He's 34 in, unless Atrocity end this game, I don't know, in the next like 5, I think he'll finish it. It'll be a trip. It'll be a trip, that's for sure.
I think Atrocity are in a position where they could end this game within the next 5 minutes. They need 1 more good team fight, but they've been playing it kind of slow this entire set. Even this game where they are very much in the lead, they've still been kind of playing it slow. Where, you know, yes, it's one thing to play it slow to be safe. You have such a lead right now, it's kind of unsafe to play it slow. I think they're at that, unless they screw up, they should win this game kind of position. But hey, their screw-ups happen.
Yeah, I mean, screw-ups can happen. This is what aggro would call a 99%er. Like, 99%, you're gonna win it. There is always that 1% that things go terrible. Nice block. We'll grab the Emoji, but the ultimate not in time. Emoji gonna get out. Tsukiyomi gonna ult, looking for that damage, but looking to dive here at the back line.
Really smart ult by Ruler. He knew that just with one tick of his ult, he was gonna kill that Yemoja, so he did one tick onto Yemoja, knew she was dead, got the rest of them onto Banter, forced him out, and now Hunter is in such a bad spot. He is like
situation here as Cherno does ult in, and he's gonna leap over the wall, but Sylvanas looking for him, not gonna get the root, but a nice big old circle of death will make sure that Cherno will get that kill. Robin and Scylla are gonna make the rotation over as well as the Emoja. Jing Chen stuck in the mid lane for now.
Now they're pulling fire. I like this call. Scylla's on the backside. You need to have someone going for the Scylla. Right now, both frontliners are at the Fire Giant. Tsukiyomi's the one relegated to zoning. I don't see why you have both frontliners at the Fire Giant right now. Sylvanas taking a lot of Fire Giant damage, getting knocked up, having full, and Sylvanas dead.
It dies to the Fire Giant. That's important. Dies to the Fire Giant, not to Yemoja, who barely was off on the time. But, I mean, going to the Tsukiyomi zoning, I like that actually because he's the one that can chase the Scylla the most. I mean, I do think
I don't mind the Tsukiyomi zoning, I do
think that, I agree.
Why do you have to have both tanks there?
Yeah, I think that you should have had, like, Brock is probably zoning a little harder because Yemoja probably doesn't get through if Brockus pushes up a little bit further for that stun potential. Now Robin looking for a big ultimate, trying to get those Transcendence stacks, but Scylla's gonna deny that one from him. Gonna get one kill. Jing Chen gets a big ultimate, but Odin gonna try to leap away, looking for the stun, I imagine. Doesn't find it. Robin gonna get those 5 stacks anyway, that's for sure. Now Tsukiyomi's alone, but that is a big ultimate. Looking for the kills, not gonna be able to find it. And damage immunity coming from the Rob. Really smart play coming out. Now Hou-Yi is in the back trying to look for a kill, but Tsukiyomi gonna bring him down. But Hou-Yi gonna take it back in turn. Gonna trade that one out. Now
that's definitely worth tricks. And this is what we said. Screw ups happen, and that's what now. Bumba's boys is back in the game. They went from this massive deficit to some just bad decision making by Asher and Brackus, maybe miscommunication. Like, Asher's tanking that. Why is Brackus be there? Just throw the 2 down, give the attack speed, and run away. You know, now Bumba's boy is going to take back a lot of what they just had lost. Oh, beautiful Riptide. The Sylvanas is going to be in a rough spot. Scylla ulting, going to be off the mark. I don't think Manuelson has been very accurate with these Scylla abilities, but so and that means they have to back up, not able to take this T2. Brackus is up to zone, and you do have 3 members on Atrocity with Fire Giant. Or sorry, Bumba's boys. They stole the Fire Giant. Bumba's boys does have the Fire Giant. So it's going to be really hard for Atrocity to do anything. And like we said, that timer as it gets closer and closer to that 30-minute mark, we already see some of these level gaps closing up. Transcendence is finished, as you said. Unfortunate for Brentasian, still 4 levels behind. A lot of that coming down to disconnects as well, but you know, he's starting to work his way back there. He's still having 3 health pods. Maybe never used them or bought more. Either way, I would get rid of those, buddy. But we just see another thing that's interesting is this start where I think Yemoja goes the tier 1 of the Pridwin to get the CDR for that strange start that Seabreezy did. This helps get the Riptides more, but that means there's no Guardian's Blessing. That means they fall behind even much more in terms of gold. And you see all the item difference that despite this Fire Giant, Atrocity's pushing.
Yeah, I mean, big ultimates coming out on all ends, and now Hou-Yi might be in some trouble as Tsukiyomi does find that ultimate. I'm a monster, not on the mark. That means Jing Chen left alone to die. Brock is gonna pick up Breezy on the other end. Now Robin trying to get away, not gonna get away from Skipper. Now we're turning to this Hou-Yi. Hou-Yi taking a lot of damage, gonna have to go into the air, gonna find his way down. Crush on the mark, nice little stun finds him. Skipper gonna go down as well. The Chaos Tower picks up Ruler. Okay, and now Scylla also gonna clean up, get Don Q. Brock is gonna go ahead and blink away. Big old.
Again, Atrocity going for these kills instead of the objectives. You have the zone. You got the initial. You won the initial fight. Who cares if they live with 1 health? They're gonna have to back anyway. Skipper, instead of killing the tower, dashes forward to try to get the last kill. Hunter's just chilling under his tower, letting the tower do all this work on Atrocity, and it ends up being a 4 for 3. Like, okay, sure, you do get Fire Giant off of a few members of Bumba's boys. Yes, that's kind of a win, but I still think this is Atrocity's game to lose. They have the gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, it is still Atrocity's game to lose. They do have a big gold lead, a pretty significant one, despite the objective taking by
Atrocity's
Bumba's
doing a
boys.
good job losing it.
But
I mean, we'll see what it turns out, but
I think right now, you know, you can afford to make those little bit of mistakes, but this is coming to the point where you were talking about earlier, where you kind of have to close out the game.
But to be fair, I know that Atrocity likes to play the late game. Their team comp is fine for late game. I think Tsukiyomi's going to be a little weaker, but I mean, they still have level advantages are starting to close. We start seeing some level 20s coming up from both the carries on the side of Bumba's boys. While Bumba's boys on paper has the better late game level 20 full build team fight, it's the question to see whether they get there, because they are still this Yamoja, for example, for going Guardian's Blessing, still a long way off. She's not effective with just 2 items. Like, she's 0-7 and 5, like can't really be anywhere because she's not tanky. And Atrocity recognizing that, they just push in.
Yeah, they definitely do. Tsukiyomi finding a big ult, looking for the Robin. Donkey able to pick up just able to pick up Ho Yi. That's where Ho Yi got into problems right there. Yamoja also going to go down to this Isis. And Banter's actually going to go down to Ruler.
You have 3 people down. Just go for Phoenix. You have a wave, like, okay, maybe they didn't have a wave in mid, so they're going for fire. It's not a bad call. This is not going to be enhanced. I still think a Phoenix would have been a better call here rather than just regular FG. You could always go back to Fire Giant after you take the Phoenix. But now, Atrocity with Fire Giant in tow, with 5 members, full health, full mana. Ultimate's going to be coming back up in a little bit. They're free to just push down these structures.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think Atrocity, you know, this is where I was talking about. They got to close out the game now. You can't let this get to like 30, 35 minutes, because then you're just giving Bumba's boy an actual chance to be in the game.
Yeah, Atrocity going for these T2s. Bro, it's 26 minutes. Those T2s mean nothing, I guess. Well, but it's fine. You go for the T2 and then try to go for this Phoenix maybe, but they're pushing the wave. That's fine. I mean, go ahead.
You got to remember that with tier 2, the reason you take down towers is because the Titan has protections. Now, if you look at what Skipper builds, he doesn't build a lot of pen. So that means he needs to actually take out those towers. Like, Wind Demon is your biggest source of pen in that build, and that's not a guaranteed
the only
pen.
source of pen. Yeah,
and,
that's.
And in a Titan Siege, you can't get the crit on the Titan. You have to crit somebody, get the pen, and then hit Titan. So the towers actually matter a lot in Atrocity's gameplay.
Yeah, I think that just the problem is by taking those towers, you give up the opportunity to take these Phoenixes, and it just extends the game longer. Again, this continues to be Atrocity's game to lose until Bumba's boys is all level 20 and Yamoja is nowhere near there. Xingtian is their front line can't be active, right? Like, their front line cannot step up right now. Until that happens, the Atrocity has the advantage. At one point, if you let this game go long enough, Yamoja will hit level 20. Xingtian will hit level 20, given enough time. The question is, will Atrocity give Bumba's boys enough time for that to happen? When it happens, that's an even fight, but it's got to happen. And I think Atrocity have had plenty of opportunities that they have not taken. They did the same thing game 1. It cost them in game 1, but they are in such a leading position based off of that early game and the early game team fights that they can they can afford to do this for the next 5 to 7 minutes. But after that, after EFG, it becomes a different game.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's definitely one of those situations where, again, the longer the game goes out, the more chance Bumba Boy have to kind of get back into the game. But I really don't think it's going to get there as we look at this Let's Phoenix Siege now. However, if this person is just going to die. Nice ultimate, however, going to go ahead and save that big old life. Skipper going to pick up Rentacion. That is your soul laner that's gone. Nobody to zone out this aggression. That means that they have a full go life. Nice Ripper's Rebuke means that Skipper can't necessarily, or not Skipper. Skipper's on the other end. It's Isis that can't get into the fight, but he's still gonna find a kill. Now, this is where I'm looking to end. Look, just go ahead. Who's gonna stop you, Robin? No. Puyi, exactly. Maybe. Puyi doesn't have ultimate though, so not a lot of damage. That means they are gonna turn to this big old Titan. Big ultimate coming out of Tsukiyomi. Lots of damage. That is a dead Titan for game 2.
I love the Tsukiyomi Unruler of Mana. I think he did phenomenal on it. He played it just like it's supposed to be played. Atrocity, much better game 2, obviously, than they did game 1. Still, I think that if Atrocity can improve their they take a lot of time to think about what to do, it seems like, which if they can improve on that, I think that they have a very strong team. Again, I think Bumba's boys, they got punished for their over-aggression in duo. I haven't seen this start from Sea Breezy look to be something that I like. I'll have to play around with it myself to see, like, but it just doesn't feel great, especially if you don't have mid pressure. Because if you have mid pressure, it's one thing. If you don't have a Scylla, if you have, or like you that matchup in game 1, Scylla versus Baba Yaga, neither one has pressure, right? Like they're both kind of late game mages. It doesn't matter. It's kind of an even thing.
Yeah,
Game
I mean,
2, you know you're gonna lose mid pressure. That start just makes your hunter in your dual lane so vulnerable.
yeah, I mean, definitely one of those things where I think that, you know, there was some unfortunate things that happened on the side of Booma's Boy. You know, you have Brentacion kind of DC'd halfway through it, but it really was, even before then, Atrocity was in the lead. That's something that's important to mention. And they already had the momentum going in. They did do the respectable thing of allowing the pause to go through its entire length. And it is a competitive environment. You got to compete. So you play through it and you take this one in. I mean, if I'm Booma's boys, I'm scratching it off. I'm saying, you know what? We had a DC. We're just going to come in game 3 and prove what we got. Show that we can do another game 1 or even better. And Atrocity's job is to make sure that, hey, look, game 2 is not a fluke. DC or not DC, we're still going to come out on top. And that's what you want to see towards game 3.
Yeah, okay, so I personally do not want to see Sea Breezy do this start that he did in game 3. I think it has not been working for them. Atrocity figured out how to deal with it. Game 1, Ruler of Men could have gotten that kill at level 2, ended up not getting it. Game 2, he fixed that. He got the kill. He got the double kill on duo lane. And I don't want to see it was really their front line could not step up. Yes, it's unfortunate Brentacion had the DC, but he was already a few levels behind at that point when he had the DC. It sucks. Hopefully he got his internet fixed for game 3, but I have not loved this Yamoja. Yes, he's had good ults in team fights. Yamoja will always be a good character if you just press 2 and hit somebody. But if he goes Yamoja, I'm okay with him doing that. Just don't do that start. It screws your dual lane over every time. You're just assuming that their jungler is not going to be there, and you can't make that assumption.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what adjustments are made. I'm not sure if many need to be made because all they had to do is perform what they did like in game 1, I think, to kind of perform in game 3. But we'll see if there's any adjustments made as we head into game 3. Before that, we're going to take a little quick break. So stick with us and we'll be right back.
Exciting conclusion incoming. Let's go.
All right, welcome back, Reap Smite League fans. We are back to the exciting conclusion of this set. We're going straight into game 3. We're going to go see what's going on. We're going to see if there's any adjustments from Bumba's boys, try to close this one out, or whether or not Atrocity is going to pull this game out despite the game 1 loss.
I'm excited. I am hyped for this match. This has been 2 really interesting matches to see. First of all, we've seen great team fights from Atrocity, and game 1 they weren't able to do anything with it. Game 2, Ruler just popped off. I want to see these guys get him off this Tsukiyomi. They're our first pick. They might want to pick it for themselves. They ban out the Odin. Cupid, Freya as well is what they did game 1. Same bans for Atrocity. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But I want to see them shut down Ruler as they ban out the Tsukiyomi, I guess, thinking that they're gonna that Bumba's boys might pick it. So Ganesh first pick.
I mean, good strat to
Our
ban out
spectator
Tsukiyomi.
Jay, I wish had some. I wish our spectator had some words to say about first pick Ganesh. But what do you think about first pick Ganesh?
First pick Ganesh is always good. I mean, like, I don't know. Ganesh is just solid.
He seems like he's down.
But the only problem I have with this is that you can just respond with a nemesis. And now Ganesh, big bad. Scylla also kind of works into Ganesh. But I do think that I'm not just a hater, Jay. Like, I'm just going to put it up there that I love Ganesh. I try to get my team to play Ganesh all the time or ban it out because I hate Ganesh. But
Ganesh is the gold level all-star. Players at gold level love Ganesh. But they take away the Scylla here. So they're trying to take away some of these picks. It looks like Manuelson has been doing a lot of work on Scylla, so now Don Q is going to see if he can... It may have been... I think Don Q likes playing that Scylla in the first place, so it might have been something that Manuelson just took that... Now the Atrocity can take back. Skipper loves the Jing. That was one thing that had been consistently banned against him. Now he's back on it. As you see Merlin and Thanatos in these top 3, I don't love it. They all do things that are fine. Ganesh is fine. Merlin is fine. Thanatos is fine, but like, top 3 of them over like Ra and Yamoja and like broken things.
Okay, I will say that Merlin is still a top mage. Like, Merlin's definitely not a bad top pick, and neither is Ganesh.
I mean, he has a pretty low win rate now in high level conquest.
I mean, yeah, but that's because people who can play Merlin, and that's just kind of like he's one of those gods that when he's in the right hands, he plays really well. If he's in the wrong hands, it looks really bad. And Ganesh is just super solid in the first top 3. What I really don't like is you see this Thanatos locked in, right? And you pick up a Sylvanas. I do not like that because you grab Sylvanas, and what's that say to Thanatos? So Thanatos is going to say, man, this guy can't avoid my abilities. This guy cannot avoid my sight. I'm in a team fight. I need to heal. I'm just going to hit the Sylvanas. I'm in a team fight. I need to ult somebody to just kill him. I'm going to ult this Sylvanas because unless that Sylvanas has Blink, Sylvanas dead. I mean, like, there ain't no 2 ways about it unless he got some master jukes guy put on those dancing shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have seen Asher play meditation in a lot of these games. And hey, meditation can kind of counter Thanatos. You get right above that execute threshold and suddenly like he has to use an additional ability to kill you rather than just one. Like, wow, that could be value. As we see the Achilles, they get hovered, but looks like Don Q going back to the Jormungandr. Or sorry, Atrocity getting the Jormungandr. They don't want that to go to Brentacion, recognizing how well it did against their quadruple shell upgraded shell comp. So, okay.
I don't know. I really don't know if I would take away the Yorm. Mainly because I've never really seen Atrocity play Yorm. I could be wrong. I haven't seen every Atrocity game. I'm sorry, Skipper. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I would prefer to see now if Rockets is straight up saying I want to play this Yorm. I really do. Then maybe that works out. but I really want to see Brockus play like somebody he can make a bigger impact with in a lot of ways. And I mean, I guess it works. I'm not saying it's bad, but there's nice pickups from the other side. Hachiman, Vomit, Hachi gonna be able to kind of chase down that Jing Wei. Vomit gonna do a really good amount of work chasing down Scylla, unless she goes through a wall, in which then she's not in the fight, and you're okay with that because you get the turn back.
Yeah, I
around.
actually don't like the Vomit here because, Jingwei can just ult over a wall. Scylla can just 3 over a wall. Sylvanas, yeah, but like, okay, do you want to be a Vomit chasing down a Sylvanas? Like, doesn't feel great. Chalk can go over a wall and run away. Like, who is this Vomit gonna go on? Like, you like Vomit into like really immobile mages that you can just W key down. None of these characters on Atrocity are that immobile. They're all pretty mobile except for Sylvanas. But again, if your solo laner is like W keying your tank, then you're fine with that. That's like win-win for you. So it'll be interesting. I do like the comp other than the Vomit for Atrocity. I also like the comp for Bumba's boys. They take away a lot of the stuff that they saw. Atrocity take away some of that stuff. These titles are a little reversed. So red team is actually Atrocity. Blue team is Bumba's voice. So I was getting a little thrown off by that. But yes, Atrocity do take away some of the picks in the Jormungandr, in the Scylla, things that they thought gave them trouble in the first game. But now Merlin's gonna have mid pressure. The strategy that Bumba's boys had been doing, or the game plan, was they liked to play aggressive in dual lane, let Hunter get aggressive. It's not going to be as effective against the Jingwei because she can just come back, but you're going to have that mid pressure on the side of Bumba's boys, which means that they can get away with playing through duo. We'll have to see how this shakes out.
I mean, I do like this from Bumba's boys. They're just going with an entirely different comp. They're like, okay, you took away some of our stuff. Great. We have a whole different game plan. Like, we're not playing the emoji. We're not playing the Scylla. We're not playing the Yorm. We've got a whole different game plan that we can work with. That maybe this is how you kind of take a team like Atrocity by surprise, because maybe they draft the Yorm because they're like, oh, they're going to play Yorm, or they draft the Scylla because, oh, they're going to play Scylla. But Bumba's voice is like, oh, we weren't going to play those anyways. We had this already in the back pocket. And that's just really good.
Oh, you know what's another thing? You know that's another thing that really sucks when you're a Vomit? Upgraded shell. And multiply that by 4.
That is true. I mean, when you do have upgraded shell, Vomit's going to suffer a little bit. I mean, I don't love the Vomit pick. I'm simply just going to say that, if he does end up zoning out, if he forces a Jingwei to ult out, that's kind of a W. If he forces the Scylla to have to only use the ult over a wall, it's almost a W. I mean, she can also use Crush over a wall, but still, being able to force those carries out of position could work. And then, furthermore, he does have Blink, so he can just blink on them after they've used their dash, and then they just have to deal with it. And that's gonna be a little bit tougher.
He could blink, knock up the Jingwei, which gives her extended range on her dash.
Well, hopefully he doesn't do that because, well, that's just 101 against Jingwei. Try not to get her to use her longer range dash unless you're gonna kill her.
We do see some pretty standard starts. Already, it looks like now the pressure out of just the fact that Sylvanas has AoE autos is preventing some of this play, but that Bumba's boys like to do, this dual lane is pretty much stalled out. But that is making a rotation over.
Definitely a little less exciting.
If you're communicating that you're gonna make that rotation, then why clear the wave? If you're the dual lane, if you're Hunter, you should just hang back, like miss a few autos, make it seem like. And now Chalk is here. I don't necessarily think Chalk's gonna get a kill here, but let's see what happens.
Very close though, very, very close.
Lose our heads here.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit about how you feel Chalk jungle is. I think it had kind of a peak, like maybe a month and a half ago or a month ago. What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't think it's bad. Like, okay, if it was anybody but playing Ruler, I'd be like rolling my eyes, kind of be like, okay, here we go. But Ruler, you know, he is very comfortable with the capabilities of Shock Jungle and how it works and what it provides to a team fight and things like that. So it's not terrible. I don't really like it against a team that against Bumba's boys comp. Though I will say Shock is almost guaranteed to get his ultimate off on Thanatos unless Danny ults and responds. So there's that. You're also probably guaranteed to get it on a Ganesh. You're not gonna probably get it on the Hachiman or the Merlin possibly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really love it, but it does provide a lot of early game pressure to compensate for a later game mid lane.
And one thing that, like, okay, so with the recent changes to Chalk, he's gotten a few buffs over the last several patches, of Season 7. One of them being you get more mitigations now at higher levels of your ult. That means that when you're level 20, you're going to have a good amount of mitigations. How relevant is that going to be without prots? I would expect to see something like a Sledge coming in from Ruler Men and maybe getting a little bit of incidental tankiness. But, you know, one of the best things about mitigation is when you have a little bit of prots, mitigations just makes your prots seem so much more effective. Without prots, like, I don't know how good that mitigation is going to be, but it's still a huge circle of silence is never going to be feeling bad.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Well, all I know is that Ruler has made Shock look good before. I've also seen it not perform well at all. It's not something I would want to see Ruler on now that he's expanded his jungling into those assassins, because I feel like they still have a little bit more of an impact than Shock can provide. And going against a Thanatos is a little tough because when you're winding up that ultimate, if you're low health, Danny can just get an ult for free. Like, you're just dead. And so that makes it a really careful balancing act that you have to follow. Now, Ganesh here taking a lot of poke from both. Not able to get that little jet stream to knock him up, though, from the Jingwei. Danny making the rotation. Does find ultimate on Sylvanas. Sylvanas going to have to ult in turn. Now a flicker forward. Going to go ahead and get that kill. Shock now rotates over. Gets that ultimate down. Not able to secure the kill. Trying to find somebody, anybody. Come on now, Jingwei all
alone. Skipper go in?
And
Skipper dashed in.
Yeah, he definitely did. I guess there was no communication on somebody peeling for him, and Skipper just dies there.
Yeah, that was a. I mean, yes, there's low targets, but like, I don't know. It ends up being kind of a bit of a int from Atrocity. Bumba's boys getting a 2-0 lead, getting first blood. And Atrocity did so well game 2 with just getting that early lead. They do still seem to do well in the late game, just in the team fight, so I wouldn't count them out yet. I don't think that Bumba's boys necessarily is gonna use this to just run down the game. It does feel bad that they're on both carries, and both carries having about a half a level lead now as a result.
Well, you also gotta remember, I'll just straight up say, Atrocity still has a gold lead. I mean, they're a little bit more efficient in their farming, more effective in their farming. They're spreading the farming out a little bit more. So definitely one of those things that, I mean, I say it a lot of the time when I'm on cast. Kills before 5, 10 minutes. I will say before 8 minutes, right? 8 minutes, I think you can make a really solid Gold Fury call if you get one good pick. Before 8 minutes, I don't really care about kills. You can kill like 5 dudes, you got like maybe 300 gold lead if you're not farming efficiently, or if you're not invading and stuff like that. Maybe you'll go up to like 500, 800. So right now, not too worried. It's when the 8-minute mark, when those picks can transition into very tangible objectives, that's where it becomes a problem.
If you do see a plated helm pickup for Jormungandr, interested to see what this is going to be. If it's going to be like a Jade Emperor's or this Imperial helmet. If it's going to be like, I don't know, the Jormungandr does rotate over. big pluck onto the Ganesh. Huge ult from Scylla. Looks like Don Q is definitely comfortable on this pick.
Yeah, and still uses I'm a Monster to kind of try to zone out that Vomit that was making the rotation, saying, hey, I can't really reach that Merlin without putting myself in a bad position. Might as well ult around now. Yorm going into the jungle, gonna get pincered by two. The Thanatos and the Vomit, nobody there to help him. The Scythe not on the mark. Now, I think this is a fall back. I don't know what Sylvanas is doing. Nobody to follow up if he got that pull, so I just fall back into the jungle.
Yeah, agreed. Is now Chalk coming here, trying to zone out the Hunter Hachiman. Hachiman forced into his ultimate, and not really a lot of commitment needed to get that ultimate out. That's a good win for this side of Atrocity.
I would have wanted.
Hit the triple buff.
I would have wanted him to press the gas a little bit more because that did let Hachiman kind of turn around for free. Now, big ultimate gonna go ahead and catch that dash. That means Ruler is gonna grab that kill. Really good catch of the dash. Dash barely doesn't make it out. Very, very nice.
That was a really good play from Ruler. Recognizing that, like, Hunter is not respecting the numbers here, not respecting that he doesn't have ult. Yes, he has beads, but beads isn't going to prevent the damage from Chuck's axe. So, at the end of the day, now we have a even 2-2 Atrocity coming back. And as you mentioned, even despite the first play going to Bumba's boys, Atrocity has the gold lead.
Yeah, Atrocity
and they spend it with some interesting, like, anti-heal items already coming out from the side of Atrocity. Brawlers, Divine Ruin. The big things that you have to anti-heal are Vomit and maybe Thanatos. Yeah, a little bit of lifesteal from Hachi. But on the other side, you have just a Divine Ruin. You're still waiting on Thanatos to finish that mace. I wonder if he's going to go into a Brawlers. I would expect he would, given that you have so much healing on the other side. You have a Chalk, which is going to be impossible to kill without anti-heal, and a Sylvanas, who's going to just help his whole team. And Sylvanas is already looking to build into healing with the tier 2 going to Rada Slepius.
Yeah, for sure. Now they're trying to catch out this Syl. A nice Sylvanas ult knocks up 2, avoids the Disciple, pluck him back. Fanny now gonna ult. Has to ult. I don't know if he had to. Now Ganesh uses the zoning ultimate. Fanny going all the way back. And I think that was a little premature there from the Thanatos. Kind of ults out of reaction, maybe expecting more follow-up, but nobody was there. A little bit more aggression here. Ooh! That was a lot of damage on that Ganesh. Barely survives. Dashes through the entire crush, still takes the damage. Unfortunate.
Yeah, but it makes it out. That's what counts.
Danny looking for something here on the Yorm. Now Yorm gets silenced out of using the knockup part of his little hiding.
Is he gonna go for the third one? Is he gonna go for the third? No, he goes towards the blue. Does he pick it up? I'm not sure if he got it.
No, I don't think so. Nope, that will go in the favor of Bumba's boys. Not able to steal it away, but able to get the pressure in the lane nonetheless. But meanwhile, mid lane, there is a 3v2 kind of building up if Thanatos decides to rotate over. So Chalk and Scylla gonna make the smart call and say, you know what, there's back camp. We can just leave this behind. Things quieting down now. I mean, both teams kind of looking for that opening to get a pick, then turn that into a Gold Fury call, I would imagine. But nothing really happening so far. Jingwei maintaining a little bit better in this duo lane than the Hachiman right now.
I don't like this huge commitment into anti-heal that we see from the side of Atrocity. The Curse Donk picked up, already upgraded. Yes, you want that for Vamana, but then I'm okay. I guess it's okay to, like, get all of it, but I would say, like, you can delay those anti-heal items. You're gonna want them anyway. But you don't need to fight this bomb in this early.
Nice plus finds 2. Danny gonna have to ult again. Gonna ult away. Skipper finds a kill. No, Chalk was there to help. But going back to your Curse Donk thing, you know what I would have preferred this year? Sundering Spear. Upgrade that sucker to dead bombing anyway.
I mean, I do like the upgraded Curse Dog because there's literally nothing that Vomit can do against it. Same thing with, on the other side, I would like to see an upgraded Curse Dog because once Sylvanas casts his Wisps, there's nothing he can do to take that back. And you're taking extra damage from the upgraded Curse Dog on your entire team once Sylvanas hits them with the Wisps.
Oh, I agree, but that's why I think Sundering Spear would have been better than Curse Dog on Atrocity, because the healing from Bumba's voice is not for the team. It's for individuals. You get upgraded Sundering Spear, you're popping the shield that Vomit gets in his ultimate. You're dealing 15% of his health that's now kind of bumped up because of his ultimate back to him, and you're increasing the damage to him by 20%. And not only that, if Vomit's not there, just use it on the Ganesh. And you still get value. Like, that's why I think in this situation, this is one of the few situations where I think Sundering Spear is just the obvious choice over Cursed Dawn. Because, yeah, extra damage now to the Vomit, maybe the Thanatos that's there. But you're not getting it on anything else, right? So why bother? Just go ahead and use the Sundering Spear.
Yeah, I'm okay with it either way. I think that, like, it's gonna be interesting. One of the nice benefits of Jorm is that he doesn't have to go blink. He can just sneak up on people. He can ult on people and get into the back line. And that means that he can afford to go the Ankh and the Thorns instead of having to get a blink where another, like a warrior like Vomit, has to get blink, otherwise he's never gonna get into that back line. So it's kind of a nice benefit on that god.
Yeah, definitely a nice little benefit. Things, again, kind of quieting down, but there is a big rotation coming out. They're going to catch still Sylvanas in between. Hachi sees this. That's going to be a lot of damage. Ganesh going to ult. That is very dangerous tapping that was taken by that Sylvanas. Probably going to end in his death as Stanley going to ult down. But now Scylla rotating. But uses the ultimate a little prematurely, or, depending on your perspective, also a little bit too late.
Sprint was the difference maker. Ganesh popped Sprint, and that let his entire team get out of dodge. Now Merlin's rotating over, almost catches the Scylla back, but now he's alone against the Jingwei, and I guess both of them just go their separate ways as the rotation comes back from Bumba's voice. So Jingwei maybe gonna back off. Does give some good poke onto Banter, so.
Yeah, I think here the problem is though that if I was Bumba's boy, I would have just collapsed on that. You know, Sylvanas back, you know, shots in mid lane, you know, Scylla back. Just take that fight 3v1, but now Danny's gonna be the one aggressed upon as Chalk looks for it.
Yeah, game's been pretty even so far. Yeah, but Atrocity has managed, even though the kills have been pretty even, to get a good bit of a gold lead just from invade, which that was what they got a lot of success from in game 2. So they're repeating what they did in game 2, and Bumba's boys with a more of a late game comp than they had in the game 1. Now not really able to do much. Thanatos kind of ults behind. Maybe expecting the Scylla to dash, but Scylla just holds it. And now with Thanatos kind of out of the fight, big pluck onto Ganesh. It does force out his ult. Scylla's in the ult as well. Does get good damage onto Ganesh, but he's tanking enough. He'll live for now. But this T1 is not gonna stay up.
No, it is not. Very good aggression from Atrocity, but that's a big silence coming out of Thanatos. Finds a lot of damage on everybody. Now it's going to be the heals coming out of Sylvanas. Still no cursed off.
Oof. You see half health of that one crush, just half health in Merlin. And now does get the kill onto Sylvanas, but Jorm is in the back line, forcing these guys back.
Yeah, it's a tough situation here. I think that Bumba's kind of still wants to take this fight because the backliners are being left to the mercy of Thanatos. Now Thanatos is gonna have to. Ooh.
Yeah, he's caught out. There's good collapse onto the Thanatos.
Good collapse on the Thanatos. Thanatos probably could have. If I was Thanatos, as soon as I hit that little damage onto, I believe it was a Skipper, just ult. You didn't get the kill. No,
he was a little late.
Yeah, he tried to back all the way into the back camps, like try to loop around, do a loop-de-loop, not expecting to collapse. But in that situation, just be like, hey, I didn't get the kill, time to ult out. Easy as that. And if you can still get the kill, you can even ult in and just get the kill and then trade. But you wait a little bit too long in that moment. Ooh, Hachi finds a solo kill.
Yeah, Jingwei having used. Wait, she died with ult.
Yeah, she died with ult and beads.
Okay. I mean, both hunters going for crit. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just RNG at that point. If you hit a big crit, then that's kind of the start of a good engagement for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit the big crit, it's good. But also, you gotta respect Hachiman damage from the up down ult. Like if he's in close enough, he can up down ult dash stun. And that just kind of kills most hunters. Now we see Mega engage here, but not really gonna find much. Now Thanatos gonna go in the air, hovering death, finds Sylvanas. Sylvanas basically just absolutely
good Thanatos
deleted.
out there. Not waiting for the execute, knowing that there's no one behind, so just going for the stun and the damage. This opens up Bolt Fury, but Atrocity's here to contest, and does get the primal with the Scylla ult.
Yeah, that's one of the things you gotta worry about Scylla. You gotta worry about Scylla, man. She can always secure these objectives. Now Hachi kind of caught in the tough position. Gonna have to make his way back. Thanatos barely misses the little Sikkim, but gets crushed anyways as Scylla gets another kill. And Donkyu showing a really comfortable Scylla, not just a, hey, let me take this away from you. It's like, hey, I want to play now.
Oh, for sure. He's been playing really well on this Scylla. I think it seems to me that actually he's been hitting all his stuff. Manuelson did not really perform that great on the Scylla. Even in the games they won, he wasn't really hitting his abilities. But Donkey has been on the mark.
Donkey definitely been in. I like this play from Atrocity, able to secure the Pyro right after that Gold Fury steal. So that definitely swings things into their favor. They're carrying the momentum of this mid game now.
Yeah, shades of game 2. Atrocity a little slow to wake up, but now they're here to play and they want to close this game out. Hopefully more decisively than they did in game 2, which kind of had a few almost throws. But I want to see cleaner play from Atrocity, but they're in a good spot, and I want them to just continue this working with this lead, playing the lead that they have, and keep pushing this lead forward.
Yeah, I definitely want them to push the lead for sure. Skipper finds the solo kill now on Hachi, so you know, 1 for 1. That's how you want to see out of ADC lane. Nobody gets bragging rights anymore. They're just kind of like,
Here's a throwback item from season 6. Look at this, or maybe like spending too much time on PTS. Executioner being picked up by the Hachiman with like what physical damage are you thinking you're gonna get on it at that point? I don't know why you get this Executioner here. Like, yeah, it's good in PTS, but this is still live client, bro.
Yeah, Executioner a little questionable here. Would have been a little. I always like Executioner when you have like maybe a jungler that's basic attack base, or I guess it can kind of work since Vaughman is a basic attack base god, and now you're spreading that shred. I think it even works better theoretically if you grab a Void Shield somewhere. Then you really are taking a bunch of stuff.
It's good into like objectives. Maybe that was the idea with Merlin and Hachi, that they can have very fast objective burn.
Yeah, good.
I could maybe see that thought.
And I mean, like I said, the Void Shield. I mean, to be fair, at this point, you're probably not thinking about winning or losing trades. It should be as you're looking for these team fights, as we do see it grouping up in this mid lane. Now, ooh, that's going to be somebody caught in the middle, and that's going to be Ganesh Sylvanas into the Scylla ultimate. Tell me you haven't seen that one before, but Thanatos able to pick up the kill. Up, down, gonna find the Sylvanas. Now it's a chase. Hachi gonna ult, now looking for the kill onto the Relic.
How long do you think that shell lasted?
Shut down!
No.
Did you see it? It lasted for less than a second.
And I mean,
the Atrocity has been sticking to this quadruple shell, and yes, they won game 2. I think they win despite this quadruple shell. It's how they get
I'm gonna put it
almost
like this
deicide.
for the quad shell. Quad shell works when you're grouping up. The problem right now is Atrocity has the lead, and they're not grouping up.
Okay, say you group up. I say you group up, then you get everybody hit by a Merlin, whatever. That's not gonna, like, Shell's not gonna last long for that. Ooh, it's now a lot of damage being taken by Bumba. He's forced into his ult. Jingwei's here to contest, may try to kill his Bumba. Bumba's staying around, trying to heal up in his ult. Dana also very low, does get the kill on the Skipper. Can they secure this fire?
Atrocity playing poorly here. But no, going back to the quad shell, yeah, like, look, Merlin's gonna hit everybody, but the quad shell, I will say, does work when you're grouping up as 5, because then you have 4 separate triggers of giving you that much more life, especially on the side of Sylvanas. Something that will really help in a fight. Not saying it's the best. Again, I'm not saying I would do it, but what I want to say is that game 1 and game 3, what we're seeing is these shells are absolutely useless when you're not grouping as a team. And why not group as a team when you're the team in the lead? But now that lead is kind of getting disapparated by good play from Bumba's and a kind of a little bit of some bad shot calling coming out of Atrocity. Why have Jingwei try to contest that and not even use her ultimate? It befuddles me.
Yeah, Jingwei has died multiple times here without ulting, which is not what you like to see.
Ooh, big initial, big Danny ult incoming, looking for the Scylla. Scylla gonna go down. On the other end, Hachi gonna find that Sylvanas. Now we're looking for the Jingwei as well. Danny getting absolutely poked out. Gonna have to use Aegis. Now Jormungandr gonna go ahead and find his way away. Shot blinks away as well. But that's a lot of ultimates. The only ultimate not used there. Again, Jingwei. But that means that this is kind of free. This is a free run into that Titan room. If they want to, they can push all the way to Phoenix.
Do you remember another game where Atrocity tried to defend a tier 1 and it went really poorly for them?
Yeah, I mean, here I hope they don't defend tier 1. They defended the Gold Fury with very little fervor, I should say. Now, this is really good play from Bumba's boy. Hey, they're coming back. Let's respect that. Let's look for this tier 2 in mid. Now it's turning into a fight. Ganesh getting poked out. Shot gonna do the last hit. Ruler picking up a kill. Gonna throw the axe in. Thanatos going into the air. Looking for Ruler of Men. Finds Ruler of Men. Now big silence finds 3. Hachi putting out the big old damage. Thanatos sticking around saying, hey, look, I got stuff now. Lamont absolutely getting shredded. Thanatos still here. Doesn't find the scythe. Merlin looking for a lot of damage. Finds it. Helps Hachimon get the kill. It's the 2 carries. Nobody diving them. That's a triple kill here for Hunter. That means that the Dia side, that is an end call if I've ever seen one. You have a wave in left. You have a wave in mid. And Manuelson gonna go ahead and take this piece view tower shot. Gonna start backing away. Big
with Merlin damage. This is game 3. And that was just, again, Atrocity's shot calling has been just like atrocious. But I mean, Titan does kill Banter. They still have enough damage with a Hunter and Merlin. They should be able to. Maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. Okay.
It's Merlin.
Oh, very close. It's Merlin. He's very close.
I'm surprised by Manuelson in that situation. Didn't go for the fire form originally just to get the proc shred early on, and then switch into the ice form just to get the damage out. But that might be because the last time I played with him, I told him never to use fire form ever again in my face. So considering I'm watching, makes sense why I didn't see it. But in all seriousness, good end call. Good end call from Bumba's boys. A lot of teams would be like, oh, our tanks are down. There's no way we can do this. But when you have a Hachi with Executioner, you have a Thanatos, and you have a Merlin, go ahead. Worst thing that happens, the guys die, but you guys are still in the winning situation.
Big brain plays with the Executioner going for, knowing that they're going to get the Dia side, and then, you can shred the Titan. So smart. So smart.
So smart. I believe we're going to take it to a short break, but I believe we do have an interview coming from Bumba's boys here shortly, so don't go anywhere. We're going to take it to a short break.
After an excellent 3-game set, we have the Hunter for the winning team, Bumba's Boys. His name is Hunter. What's going on, Hunter? How do you guys feel after that set?
I mean, pretty good. We kind of walked in it awful confident and left with a win. I mean, who can complain when you leave with a win, right?
So game 2, obviously you guys had internet diff in solo lane, but I wanted to ask you a couple things about one, the start that Sea Breezy decided to do with the Yemoja. Did it work to your satisfaction as you guys expected it to?
We've actually been trying that strat like a lot. With my aggressive playstyle, it's a nice to get a lead. We actually started with Guardian's Blessing boots. Breezy wasn't getting enough threes off, so we switched to the Gem of Fate start, which gives him 10% cooldown. And it actually, it's been working most of the season. I believe we've done it 3 times, and I believe we won all 3 games except for that second game there. But I like the strategy personally as the ADC because it just puts me ahead.
Almost got punished for it game 1. Looks like you did get punished for it game 2. What adjustments did you guys talk about going from game 2 to game 3?
Just switching back to more of our playstyle. Game 1 played really really aggressive. Tried to win it like in way too early. Game 2 we kind of tried to do the same thing, but moving into game 3, we just kind of locked up the troops and just kind of did our thing. I want to give a quick shout out to Manelson or Dan, former of. He definitely put in a lot of work moving into this week and stuff, just helping us moving into game 3, letting us know what they play and stuff like that too.
Yeah, excellent to have. Good. And it looks like you guys had really good information. I get the Jorm pick after seeing, yes, the atrocities, like all their shells and all that stuff. Was that something you guys had practiced, or was that something specific for this team that you thought, or do you think Jorm is just strong in general?
Well, I don't know if you, we actually did a big role swap around. We moved Dan back to the mid lane, me back to the ADC role. We moved actually Banter to the jungle, and we're just kind of talking to Brant, letting him know like what can he play. And he brought up the Yorm, and we didn't actually really have in mind that they were going to build that many shells. We kind of figured like they would look to be building at least 2, but it just kind of was like an extra. Yorm works very well with our team, so we just kind of thought more of that way. We didn't really think of like the shell shred.
It worked out in your guys' favor.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'll go ahead and throw in a question here. So game 3, you guys lose your 2 frontliners. I mean, well, your 2 big boys. You lose Ganesh and you lose Bauman. You got the Executioner, you got the Merlin. I just want to know, like, was that a hype end call or kind of like, I think we can end here, guys, kind of call, or was it like, oh, we got the Dia side, we going for it?
Well, we actually messed up that end call. The plan essentially was we had 2 Aegises, me and Dan. So it was more or less just kind of like an easy thought call. We had a lot of shred and stuff. I mean, we thought it would go smoother than it did, but I mean, it wasn't like we didn't really think of it as like a hype end call. It was just kind of like they decided we want to win here. Like, I feel like if we waited a bit longer, their team comp would have came online a tiny bit more. They did have a lot of healing, and we were noticing that. That's why Sabrizi actually picked up the Cursonk, and we got him to upgrade her super fast. But we didn't want to team fight that team, like 5 or 10 minutes from where we were. So we were just kind of like, let's just try to end here.
This is something I brought up in the cast, and I wanted to ask you, the Executioner. What are your thoughts about it? You built it in that game 3. Tell me why.
Personally, I think Executioner is one. I wouldn't say one of the best, but it works really good with my build. I'm a very aggressive ADC, and I love having that 25 attack speed plus the it's 21 prot shred. Plus their team was pretty tanky, so I needed to mow down tanks pretty quick. So I just kind of thought, in heat of the moment, kind of build Executioner to help my crits get a bit bigger. I had I had 31% crit or percent prot shred in the late game, and that's just what I needed, because they were just kind of like they were trying to get to me, and I had to be a bigger threat than I was.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Hunter. Congratulations on the win, hard-fought victory against Atrocity. Who are you guys looking forward to in your upcoming matches playing against?
Well, we got 2 games coming in at the beginning of the season 8. It's Team Denied versus We Need Wards. The biggest game I'm looking to play against is the Clown Fiesta game. Looking to battle back my old team, possibly knock them off the Toadium.
Excellent. We'll look forward to seeing that as well. And thank you guys all so much for joining us on this RSL Week 6, Bumba's Boys versus Atrocity. We had an excellent set for you today. And stick around. We have plenty of more stuff. We have our Discord and our social media channels. Just check out the Twitch. It'll give you all the information that you need.